So in this session we're going to be focusing on the share filter, and the main idea why share tracking has developed a share filter is to enable a client to search for the shares that fall within their specific category. Each client has their own specific list of preferences to which they want shares to fall within. Whether it be that you're only searching for shares that are trading below 100 Rand per share, whether or not you're looking for shares that are trading in the region of a dividend yield of 5%, whatever the case may be, the share filter is the tool that you need to use to enable you to drill down from about 400 shares that are listed on the JSE to about 5 to 10 shares. The reason why we want you to get your list as short as possible is for the fact that all of the shares produce 2 sets of financial results during a financial year. So that means you're looking at about 800 financial sets for all 400 companies. So the main idea here is you want to get your list as short as possible because you need to do an in-depth analysis on technical and the fundamentals. Remember, we're not just focusing on the charts of companies. We need to look at the financial sets to determine where a company is going. So if we start off with, at the top, you'll notice that we've got all of these buttons as shown here. So we've got an all, which means that you're currently looking at all plus minus 400 odd shares which is listed. One important thing to note that when you look at that is that in the left hand side you'll notice we say winning shares with an asterisk. That means that as soon as you start filtering on your share filter and a share has that little asterisk next to its code, it means that that share is on our recommendations list, also known as our winning shares list. Now you'll notice next to all we've got winning shares list. Now if I click on winning shares list, this is the top 100 shares that share tracking recommends. We will never recommend more than 100, but these are the shares that we feel have the potential for future growth. So out of the top 400 shares, you have the ability to come and filter with your set of preferences that you have. You can come and filter for the shares that you want to look at. So the winning shares list comprises of no more than 100 shares. Next to that, you've got your top 40. Now the top 40 is also known to us as the blue chip shares, and these are the top 40 companies in South Africa rated by market capitalization. Next to top 40 you get broker consensus and broker forecast. There are two main differences with the broker consensus and broker forecast. If we click on the broker consensus, you'll notice that both your broker consensus and your broker forecast, both of them give you a 3-year forecast of what can we expect, based on the previous financials. What can we expect the company to do in the next 3 years going forward? Now remember, these figures will always change each financial year because it's impossible to be 100% accurate on how a company will perform financially. But based on previous financial results, we can more or less guess where a share is going, and based on the assumption that a share will grow, we expect share prices to go up, and also for instance for that company, which for instance if it was undervalued, to come into a place where it went from a 5% dividend yield to a 2.5% dividend yield where it's overtraded. So these are things that we want to look at. So if we look at the broker consensus, as I said, there's a main difference between the broker consensus and broker forecast. On the broker consensus, we are focusing on a 3-year forecast, focusing on the price earnings yield, the earnings yield, and the dividend yield. So those are 3 important things that you need to focus on. Refer back to your lecture module underneath Fundamentals, lecture number 1, called the 8 relationships. Refer back to the 8 relationships to understand the formulas and how to calculate a price earnings yield, and dividend yield. It is important and imperative that a client understands how these things are calculated. We use them to determine whether or not a company is over or under market value. If we then click on the broker forecast, and this one is quite nice. This one focuses on 2 things and not 3 things as in the broker consensus. Here we only focus on the earnings per share and on the dividends per share. Once again, please refer back to the fundamental lecture, the 8 relationships, for an in-depth analysis on how these things are calculated. But what we are trying to seek here is for a growth within the company. So when looking at your earnings per share and when looking at the dividends per share, so your EPS and DPS, you want to see an increase in your earnings per share and you want to see an increase in your dividends per share. So without getting too technical, the main idea here is for earnings, if earnings should go up within a company, we expect that the earnings per share should also increase. Same goes to say with dividends per share. Should a company be more profitable within a financial year, they are expected or can be expected to pay out bigger dividends. So these are things that we want to look for. We want to see an increase of your EPS and DPS over the next 3 years, right? Then at the right hand side, on both your broker consensus and your broker forecast, you are provided with a broker recommendation. It gives you a signal of whether or not to buy, sell, or hold. I want to use a cautionary report here and say, use it with a discretion that even though it says a buy, you still need to do technical and fundamental analysis before you just buy the share. It's good to look at the broker recommendation to see what brokers are saying, but it's very imperative that clients do a technical analysis, determine the trend, and make sure that you're getting into the share at the right time. And the same goes to say that you work through the financial sheets, making sure that those shares comply and that they are making a profit within a financial year. So these are things that we want to look at. Right, so if we go to the all and we start working through the headings, on the far left hand side we start off with this column as indicated. So within this column you get two things. You get a chart picture and you get a newspaper picture. If you click on the chart, it will obviously now open the chart of that specific company, of that relevant company. Next to that you get a newspaper. So if you click on that newspaper, if you are a person that says that I only want to look at the physical news relevant to the company that I'm busy with, you click on the newspaper and you can get the news for that. And the same goes to say, if you want to look through the financial sets, if you want to look at directors' dealings, if you want to look at the last dividends being paid out, if you want to look at your market news, like we said, then all of those things are available underneath your newspaper. Then next to that block, we get the following one, which is called code. In the code, each share has a specific code. Now, for a beginner in the stock market, you will not always know the code of a company. That's why next to code we got name. So if you're sitting in front of the TV, you're watching the financial news, and they are talking, for instance, about FirstRand, you can go to name where it says name. You don't know the code for FirstRand, and all you do is you start typing FirstRand, and the list will automatically update to display to you that FirstRand is FSR. Right, so it's important that you can use this tool not only just to get the code of a company, but while someone is busy with a technical analysis, that you can still click on the chart and do the technical analysis with them, or maybe just read up on the latest news, whichever the case may be. So it's important that you understand the functionality of searching for a name. Then next to name we've got sector. Now in the sector you've got this drop down list, and it starts off with basic materials, consumer goods, consumer services, financials, healthcare, and so forth. So each client will have their own preferences that they want to invest into. One advice or recommendation that we can provide when filtering through this list is it's important that you keep in mind, that you bear in mind where things are moving forward in the future. We know that technology is big. We know that healthcare is also big. If you need a triple bypass, it doesn't matter whether or not it's a recession. If you need that triple bypass, you're going to need to get that triple bypass. So the healthcare sector is always something that we're going to be looking at, and telecommunications as well. So you need to be very specific in which sector you want to invest. You need to ask yourself the question, where do I see these companies in the next 5 to 10 years, given the current progress that we're seeing in technology, so that you can make an informed decision in which sector that you want to invest into. Then next to sector we get market capitalization, which is just basically what the company's worth on the market. Then next to market capitalization, you get earnings yield, which is EY. You get dividend yield, which is DY. Then you get price earnings yield, which is PE. And once again, all three of these things are discussed in much detail under the lecture module of fundamentals, lecture number 1, called the 8 relationships. Then next to that you get your traded value. So the idea behind traded value and why we don't use volume on this filter is because we want to make sure if a share has enough liquid movement. So we talk about liquidity. Is there enough liquidity within the share during a trading period? So we want to know, we've got a rule of thumb that states that depending on the amount that you want to invest on a share, so let's use the example of 10,000 Rand. We state that there needs to move at least 3 times that amount through that stock on a daily basis in order for it to be worthwhile for you. In order also to make sure that you do not buy a share which you would struggle to sell later on. So it's important when using traded value. An example of that would be if you've got 10,000 Rand, at least 3 times the amount that you want to invest should move through that share. So 10 times 3 would obviously then be your 30,000. So you're going to search for things like, for example, more than 30,000. Now your amount may be more than that. You don't have to press enter or anything. You'll notice as soon as you start typing within any one of these filters as allocated, it will automatically start to change the shares and only show you the relevant shares that fall within that category. So you don't need to press enter at all. But it's important that you do use the traded value. If you've got bigger funds that you want to invest 100,000 or so, the same rule applies. At least 3 times the amount that you want to invest on a share should move through that stock in Rand value on a daily basis. Next to that, you get your price EOD. The price EOD just stands for the price end of day. So that's the end of day closing price. Next to that, you get day change percentage. That would now obviously be your delayed price. Over weekends, it would show you 0 as there's no movement. The markets are only open from Monday to Friday. So during the weekdays and during the day, you will notice that the delayed price and the delay movement happening underneath the day change percentage. Then next to day change percentage, you get your percentage change from highest. Now percentage change from highest states from the highest point that this share was, by what percentage amount is it down by? Now this is a nice tool to use. The reason for that is within our technical analysis we explain that we are searching for shares when the cycle is low. It needs to be in a bull trend, but we're searching for a share which is low within the cycle. Now low within a cycle means that this share, for instance, is 15-20% cheaper per share. If you want to use that example, because we don't want to buy a share when it's expensive. The idea is just to buy a share when it's cheap. Now you can use the percentage change from highest in order to see by what amount is the share already cheap. So you can start your analysis with the ones that are the cheapest to the ones that are less cheap, right? So you can use any one of those, but the percentage change from highest is a good indication for that. Next to that, you get your T1, T2 and T3. Now the T1, T2 and T3 are technical indicators and they are based on a simple moving average. Now the main idea behind this is to use short-term moving averages to show short-term crossover patterns. So for instance, if we start with T1, the 20-day moving average uses a 20-day simple moving average. If the share price does break through the 20-day moving average, it will show you the buy indication. If it is more than 5% above the 20-day moving average, it will throw you a hold. Otherwise, if the share price breaks negatively through that 20-day moving average, it will show you sell. Same goes to say for T2, which is a 10 and 20-day moving average. Now it's quite simple here. It's 2 short-term moving averages, and what you're searching for is where the 10-day crosses the 20-day moving average, which is indicating to me that there's a short-term uppick in the momentum of that specific stock. That will then be shown by a buy. Otherwise, if it's negative movement, it will be allocated by a sell. The same goes to say for the T3. The T3 is also known to us as a triple crossover moving average. And this is focused on a 5, 10 and 20-day moving average. So the main idea here is that the 5-day moving average should at all times be above the 10 and 20-day moving average. If it's not above it, it will show you a sell, otherwise it will indicate a buy. Once again, a word of cautionary report to you on the buying and selling indicators, that you should not base your buy purely on having 3 buys. It is possible to filter for 3 buys and only see shares that shows buy signals. But I would not base my buying of a share just on that. I still need to do my technical analysis and I need to do my fundamental analysis. There is a reason why we reiterate why you need to do fundamental and technical analysis, because you need to buy good quality shares when they are out of favor with the major institutions. That's what we're searching for ultimately. So keep that in mind when doing your filters. So right, also one key thing to remember is, should you filter on the share filter, it will remember, even though you close down your browser, it will remember what you did last. So what you want to do is if you finish and you don't want to use some of your filters that you've already applied, you can just simply click on the reset button. As soon as you click on the reset, it will put everything back to as it was. So let's do an example. So one example you can use is, for instance, to say, listen, I only want to work with, let's say, share tracking's list of winning shares. So what you can do is you can click on winning shares list. That would be a good place to start. And then I want to only look at shares which trade within the financials. Then you click on financials. So now this list literally went from 100 to about 15 odd shares, a little bit more than that. So what you can do now is to apply a filter where you say, I've got 10,000 Rand. So the rule of thumb stated at least 3 times the amount that you want to invest. So I'm searching for anything more than 30,000 per day's movement, right? Then what I want to do next is, within our lecture modules, we state that we are searching for good quality shares that for some other reason is out of favor with the major institutions. How do you know when something is out of favor with the major institutions? A good quality share? One way of looking at it is by looking at the dividend yield and the price earnings yield of a company. Looking at the dividend yield, which is one of the important factors that we do bear in mind, is that when we say something is out of favor, it's basically saying that that share, a good quality share, is trading in the region of a 5% dividend yield. So that was what we focus on. So what you can do, for example, is you're more than welcome to use, say, you're looking for shares trading at more than 4% dividend yield, right? Or you can either use an in-between, saying you're searching for shares trading in the region of, let's say, 1 to a 5% dividend yield. That is to eliminate those shares which have a 0% dividend yield. The next factor that you can look at is looking at the price earnings yield. Now this idea behind the price earnings yield is that when comparing shares to each other, is that when you're looking at the price earnings yield of a company, you don't want to look at a very high price earnings yield. Anything, the average currently in the market is about a 20 times price earnings yield. So you can say you only want to look at shares with a price earnings yield of below 20. So by applying 4 filters, and this is just on the winning shares list, by applying 4 filters, we went from 100 shares to 3 shares. And from here I can now do a technical analysis. But this is only one way of doing it. You can use all of these filters as indicated. You can use all of these filters and you can apply them, and it will make your list shorter and shorter. So to end this session off, one thing that you need to remember is the idea behind the share filter is to get down from plus minus 400 odd shares to about 5 to 10 good quality stocks.